Hello, hi, and welcome to EmpathicFire. I am your reader, Jay. These are going to be general messages for the sign of Libra in the month of November 2018. Hello, Libra. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing well. Oh, Libra. November has come upon us, man. 2018 is almost over. It's kind of crazy. Life just plows forward no matter what, right? Anyway, November's here, so if you will be celebrating Thanksgiving later this month, happy Thanksgiving. If you are not celebrating, that's okay too. You know? Anyway, any other announcements? Oh, and happy birthday. I did your birthday reading, but for those who were celebrating at the tail end of October, or even, you know, or even back to September, I want to wish you guys a happy birthday again, just so you know that I care about you. Because I do. Alright, yeah. So, shuffled off camera. That's your main spread there. What I'm going to do now is shuffle for your outcome and your overall energy. Once all cards are out and they're lying face up, that's when the reading begins. You can look for the timestamp in the description box below if you want to jump ahead. Also down there is information on how to get a personal reading with me. If you feel that you want one, I'm gladly willing to give you one. Okay? Alright, guys, we're going to get your outcome, right? Yeah, let's do it. Outcome for Libra, November. Outcome for November 2018 for Libra, please. There it is. Okay. Bottom of the deck is that overall energy. And I have to say, like, I shuffled for a while to get your main spreads. Your energy did not come easily, Libra, I have to tell you that. So that might be significant for someone out there. Go ahead and flip your last remaining card, and that's what you got. You got all your cards face up. But yeah, when I was meditating and shuffling the deck, pre-shuffling the deck, and then, you know, getting your cards out, it was like really hard to connect with you. It was really hard to feel it was time to, number one, start to shuffle for your layout here. And then it was also hard to have the cards come out, you know, and I am not one of those readers who will shuffle and then draw. Not usually, at least. I let the cards come out as they see fit. So I'm being told to tell you it was hard to get you to come out. If that makes sense to you, if that applies to your situation, apply it, okay? Now, where is Libra in November 2018? Please show me Libra November 2018. Here, okay. Thank you. All right, Libra, coming into November 2018, you come in as the Five of Wands. So a little combative. You're feeling a little spicy. You're a little spicy, okay? Five of Wands is a card about conflict. It's a card about arguments, often petty arguments or petty disagreements or just inconsequential. Because the fives in the tarot deck, all the fives, represent some type of challenge. But they're usually challenges that can be surmounted. They can be not easily, but they can be overcome. They can be faced and acknowledged and taken to task in a way, or addressed in a way. But for now, what I'm feeling for you is like, this seems a little consistent. This seems a little bit repetitive, or not dwindling down as quickly as you would like it, or as other people might like it. Or it's just like residual, or like I said, it keeps repeating itself. It's like in the background. It's like background noise or something like that. So it could be literally you're in a particular situation or in a certain location, and there are people who are squabbling and they're around you, but you're not necessarily involved. But for most of you, I'm going to say you're probably involved in some capacity, some form, some fashion. And the thing about this is what I'm getting is like a little bit of a chaotic feeling I'm getting for you, Libra, is like you have your opinion, someone else has their opinion, a third party, okay, I didn't want to say that, but that's how that came out. So other people besides you everybody has an opinion. And we know that cliched phrase about opinions, right? Opinions are like, you know what's, everybody's got one, right? And that's kind of like the energy. It's like you all have your different perspectives. You all have your different arguments or points that you could make, but nobody here is exactly correct. Nobody here is exactly right or in a position to basically call out someone else. Like, people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones is kind of the other element here. So you could take that either way or both ways. Opinions are like blank, everybody's got one, or people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. So I'm feeling for you, Libra, that there's just this disagreement that's going on with you. And it might not be, like I said, it could be really petty or it seems really inconsequential. It doesn't have to be like this huge argument where you stop talking to people or they stop talking to you or, you know, things get escalated. It doesn't even have to be that. It could be like really passive aggressive. It could be, you know, through email or something like that. And it's just this idea of sticking to your guns, but then kind of like for the sake of the argument, for the sake of continuing the argument, or for the sake of trying to win the argument. And that's sort of the other thing about the Five of Wands. It's like, it can be for show. Like, you or someone else might be thinking internally, you know, this really isn't that important. I could just let this go and move on to the next thing. Or if I drop it, then it'll be dead and we can move on. But someone in this situation, or a few people in this situation, since there's many people on that card, might have the mindset of, why should I stop? This is kind of fun, or this is kind of interesting, or this is, you know, killing my boredom in the middle of a work day, whatever it is. And there's just like this kind of weird, like, fun sporting feeling behind it. Like, someone could be stirring the pot just to stir the pot. And again, it's a 5. It's 5s are challenging, but 5s are at the same time kind of minimal. They can be overcome very easily. Again, not easily, but they can be overcome through time and effort and things like that. The other part of the Five of Wands is competition. So it could be someone is arguing, or it could be that someone is they're being a little bit extra because they're in the middle of a competition. So maybe you work a job or that is sales oriented, and maybe you have a certain goal in your department or on your team, and you're hitting your numbers to make that goal, Libra, but then you're also kind of like rubbing it in other people's faces, which kind of causes a little bit of a conflict, a little bit of a friction between you and your workmates. And again, it seems really petty. It seems really like you don't have to. Whoever's doing it, whoever's involved, as many people as there are, none of them have to do it. You know, I'm feeling like this, come on guys, let's be adults about this, but then also I'm feeling like, but let's, you know, kill some time, or I'm not going to let people think that I'm some kind of a schmuck, and I'm going to, you know, like, there's a little bit of pride in that card as well, a little bit of pride there. So that's an interesting way to come in. It's a lot in relation to the previous readings that I've done so far for November. It's kind of a light energy to come into the month with, so congratulations. You're off to a manageable start, it seems. If anything, I would say this conflict or this argument or this air of competition could be annoying for you, Libra, or annoying for someone else. Yeah, it's just, I'm taking, as much as it, okay, thank you. As much as I'm saying this kind of cavalierly, kind of like very easy, for one or two people in the situation, it might not be so easy. And I think it is easy for you, Libra, if I'm honest. On your side of things, you don't see it as a big deal. You don't feel very pressed about it. You don't feel stressed about it. You don't feel really any type of way about it. You just realize, okay, we're having a petty argument, or you know, we're carrying on this silly competition at work, and we're, you know, shit talking to each other in the office, blah blah blah, and it's not a big deal. But for somebody else in that environment or somebody else in that situation, it's kind of a big deal. So there is this feeling. The feeling that I'm getting is like from the back door, from the rafters, from the back of the theater, like someone maybe even peripheral and not necessarily involved in the arguments or the competition is kind of like, oh my God, that situation over there is too much. So someone is more affected by this than you are, Libra, okay? And now, that could be it. We'll get into that, but I'm feeling like this Five of Wands is coming after this Tower in reverse moment for you. So I've said this a few times this month, and I don't know why. That's how my readings go sometimes. Like in whatever particular month, I have to emphasize a certain aspect of the tarot. And the aspect of the tarot that I've been emphasizing for many of the signs so far has been when something is reversed, it's not necessarily the negative or the opposite of what it means when it comes in the upright. Sometimes it's just the toning down of, or the lesser of whatever it means in the upright. And in your situation, Libra, I think that's basically it. I think that this is the lesser of what your tower moment or whatever moment in your life might reflect a tower moment. So towers are talking about, or when the tower shows up, we're talking about something that is being totally up, just a total upheaval, a total rearrangement. Disembowel? Really? Okay. They give me synonyms, and sometimes they are weird or gross in the case of disembowelment, but there's just a total change. Often haphazardly, often unexpectedly, often quite volatile, or like a big boom, a big, you know, bolt of lightning, like it is. I'll show you upright so you can kind of see it a little more clearly, but just like a lightning strike to that tower would be sudden and would create destruction like instantly. That's basically what you're talking about when the card is upright. But like I said, yours is in reverse, and it's not to say that's not happened or it won't happen. It's to say that it's either delayed or it's being avoided, or somehow someone is escaping it, or someone is downplaying it, or it has happened but it just wasn't as destructive as it could have been. And I feel for that specific case where it's not as destructive as it could have been, I think that is a perception of someone. Could be your perception, could be the perception of someone else, but someone is like kind of downplaying this event. Like they're not acknowledging this, they would acknowledge this. Yeah, it was crappy. It was kind of crappy. It sucked, but it wasn't the end of the world. It's kind of like their attitude. And that can fall into any category in your life. Work, relationships, family, personal development, whatever you want to think about. Your hobbies, you know, your money, it could go anywhere. But there is this feeling with this card for you, Libra, that whoever was to be affected by this, someone is just like, it wasn't as bad as it could have been. It's not as terrible as other people might be making it out to be. But because it's connected to your Five of Wands start position, and again, the Five of Wands has more than one person involved, so this could be a relationship, you and a partner, you and a business partner, you and your siblings, whoever. But there's more than one person involved in your starting position, meaning this reading is for you, but it's also encompassing a situation that is more than you, okay? It involves more than you. And so part of the Tower card is aligned to your energy, where you might be the person who's like, you know what, it wasn't that bad, you know, silver linings are here, there's, you know, things could have been much worse. And it would also be aligning with other people's energy, either one specific person or multiple other people. And some other person's energy is here. And that energy is like, no, this was awful. This was absolutely awful. And I don't know why you or whoever else is trying to say it wasn't awful. And maybe that's what the disagreement is about. The perception of the tower moment, or the sort of the result, or the commentary, just sort of the reflection on the tower moment. Someone might be looking back at a moment, a sudden change, again, not really accounted for, just out of nowhere, boom, lightning strike, right? So whatever moment that is for you, Libra, that you've likely experienced already, but some of you might not have, but I feel most of you have already experienced it. So the argument could be over, you're looking back and you're saying, que sera, sera, no big deal, never, I lived, you lived, everybody's alive, it's okay. And for somebody else's perspective, it's like, are you freaking crazy, Libra? And this could go vice versa. It's a general reading, so apply it to your life as it needs to be. But the other side of this tower moment doesn't see it that way. They're like, yeah, it was crazy. We almost died, or this almost happened, or I lost this, and we lost everything in this. It could be, like I said, a financial loss for some of you, or it could be the loss of your resources or your possessions. So maybe there was like a car accident, a house fire, somebody got robbed, whatever it is. And in that case, specifically the robbery thing, to draw on that example and kind of give you a specific. To be robbed is terrible. I've known people who have been robbed at gunpoint, knife point, house break-ins, all that kind of stuff. Terrible, terrible stuff. But like I said earlier, someone in this situation is looking at it and being like, well, it could have been a lot worse, which it can be. A lot of robberies can end in death. A lot of robberies can end in injury. A lot of robberies can end in, a kidnapping or a hostage situation. I don't know. It can get to be worse than what may have been experienced. So on one side, I totally understand that perspective. On the other side, it's like being robbed, regardless of any extra cream on top kind of scenario, is not pleasant. How can you sit there and say that it wasn't so bad? I had a knife pulled on me. I had a gun pulled on me. They took all my stuff. They broke into my car. All this. This is a very specific example, but I hope you get what I'm saying. From one person's perspective, it was a life-changing event. It was like, there's no way that I could be the same after this. I'm afraid to walk down the streets by myself at night. I'm afraid to go to the car garage by myself. I'm afraid to whatever, or I'm still affected by this thing. And someone else is like, well, I'm kind of over it. Or, I just, it doesn't affect me as much as it affects you. And so that could easily be what this disagreement is about. Being that you have the Seven of Pentacles right next to it, what's going on here? First of all, I did that very quickly. I'm sorry, hold on. Is that right? Okay, thank you. It felt right, but I just have to be sure. So right next door to the tower, which again, in that reverse position, isn't a negative or isn't negating the upright appearance. It's just minimizing it in your reading today. But right next to it, you have the Seven of Pentacles. So Seven of Pentacles, traditional interpretation is about, sowing your seeds, sowing your, and waiting to harvest, waiting to reap what you've sown, right? In a way, that's kind of here, as you can see. I mean, this guy is really taking a long look at his pentacles and really going, are they ready? How about now? What about now? And so someone in your situation, Libra, I'm feeling it would be you, but it doesn't have to be. Your reading, like I said at the beginning, it was hard for me to get into your energy, so you might be kind of scattered right now, or not if anything, but at the least you would be of two minds or two perspectives about this thing, as you are one of the signs of duality. So I'm just going to go with this is you, but it could be other people or another person. So I'm not feeling heavily that you are on either side of this issue, or on either side of this fence, so to speak, okay? So Seven of Pentacles is about looking at what you're growing, what you're, putting your energy into, what you're putting your resources into, what you're putting your energy into, and you're really evaluating, is it the right time to act on something? Is it the right time to benefit from something, to see a result from something? Is it the right time to, take what you can salvage and get out? Like, there's this evaluation going on here. And being that it's come next to the Tower, that's definitely going back to what I said before, where someone is looking at the Tower situation and they're looking it over with a fine-tooth comb, and they're like, well, here's what I lost, or here's what you lost, and here's the negative side of the event, and here's the upside or the not so bad takeaway from it. And they're, in a way, making a judgment call. But the funny thing about that is the perspective, right? The thing that this guy on the card is studying is totally in the opposite direction of the Tower. So, as much as the Tower moment might have been evaluated or is being evaluated, the actual line of sight of this person in the Seven of Pentacles, again, it might be you, Libra, but it could be someone else. Take your pick. The line of sight is not on that event. The line of sight is elsewhere, going towards this card. But, so I feel that whatever judgment this person is making about this previous event isn't fully... the perspective is off, There's a distance between these two, where this person is saying, oh yeah, this wasn't that bad, but their attention is already elsewhere, or their vision is aligned with something else. So how can you for sure have an opinion, a respectable opinion? Okay, thank you. How can you have a respectable opinion about this when you're not even properly evaluating it? You're not really studying it. You're not really getting the details. You're not really hearing the other person's side of things. If this is about, for some of you, this might be a relationship. This could be an argument that you're having, or some type of disagreement that you're having in an argument, or in a relationship. And you're saying, you hear the other person's side, but you don't actually hear their side. You're not like fully listening to them. And so for some of you, or again, this could be happening to you, you take your pick, Libra, but this person is like, oh yeah, I got you. Yeah. You want this in the relationship. And you kind of draw a line under that. Like, my partner said this, that means they want that, and that's it. And your partner is sitting there like, no, that's not at all what I said. I said, I want us to spend more time together. And then this person has evaluated it as, oh, you want to spend more time together as a family. So let's go over to my mom's house every weekend and we can hang out with my mom. And your partner's like, no, I said time between us, you and me, nobody else. And this person is like, oh yeah, time together. I got you. Okay, so let's go and we'll invite Barbara and her kids. And the partner's just like, what the hell are you talking about? How many times do I have to tell you? I want it to be you and I alone. So there's like this miscommunication here, again, because the line of sight of this person is elsewhere. And, okay, thank you. So, for those who are in a different type of disagreement in a relationship, there's this idea... Thanks. They showed me something that I watched recently, so that was funny. Anyway, so there's also this miscommunication or this misunderstanding in this corner here where things have been a little dry, a little dull in the relationship, and so someone has suggested maybe we should go out more and do this together as a couple, and maybe start, they've been like reading all these like Cosmo articles or, whatever they're Googling how to spice up a relationship. And basically someone has read something on the lines of, oh, be open in your relationship. Like, don't get upset about flirting. Like, it's okay to flirt as long as, blah, 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 blah. And so one partner suggests that to the other partner. Hey, you and I, we used to be like this. Let's go do this. So let's go to the bar, or let's go out to dinner. And if we see someone cute, or you see someone cute, like, just, shoot them a little smile and da-da-da, and play this little, like, teaser game kind of thing. Seems really weird, but some people do this. And the person who's receiving that message, they're just like, okay, so we can go make out with other people now. And again, the person who suggested it in the first place is like, that's not at all what I said. Where did you get that from? And the person who's like on the makeout train is just like, oh yeah, let's go make out with other people. Like, it's taking one suggestion or one facet of the suggestion and expanding it, blowing it up, and kind of hitching all of the energy onto that one aspect or one facet of the suggestion or idea, which is not correct. So again, there's like this disagreement or misunderstanding. It's minimizing something that was very much bigger to someone else. And this person here, Seven of Pentacles, again, I'm kind of led to believe it's, for many of you, this is you, Libra, you're minimizing other people's perspectives and feelings in the situation. Whereas to other people, it's just like, oh my God, this is crazy. What are you talking about, Libra? Why are you not properly evaluating this? Why are you not over here with me assessing the damage properly? You're over here staring at your pentacles bush and kind of making up the facts, or making up your you're like making up the story as you go along. Well, you said we could, start seeing other people. That is not what I said, Jim. What are you talking about? So there's this disconnect there. Now, Queen of Cups. Is she next? Okay. Ooh, okay, yes. So, this is why it's both ways. Thank you. All right, so Queen of Cups comes right above that Seven of Pentacles, and again is next to the Five of Wands here. And the perspective, or the orientation, I should say, the orientation of the Queen of Cups is very similar to that Seven of Pentacles right below, looking away from the disagreement, looking away from the argument, and is facing away from this trouble back here, right? So the other side of this, which again can be you, Libra, I feel you're in your like scattered space of, I'm here, but I'm also there. Like, you exist in more than one place at a time, or you might oscillate between two perspectives, or two arguments, or two understandings of a situation, or two things that you feel or profess. So this other person, who would be, again, here with you, sharing the Tower energy with you, or this is you as well, is facing away from the problem and really focusing on what they feel that they want the most. Okay, the Queen of Cups is very effusive, she's very loving, she's very caring and nurturing and all that kind of stuff, but a lot of times that energy is very much her own. Because you see she's got that chalice there, that huge ornamental chalice, right? But then you kind of look at her eye line and she's kind of staring at it. Like, a lot of times, not a lot of times, but the queens are usually offering what they have, as well as receiving, but they are also offering. The Queen of Cups, for me, when she comes around, a lot of times for me in my readings, she's not super focused on other people. Like, she can be very, not selfish, but self-centered, self-concerned, self-indulgent, and she's staring at that chalice hard, right? She might have other things she has to do. She might have other things that she should consider or that she should get up off her butt and do. But she's kind of like, but this chalice. And what is the chalice? What is that cup? Cups, of course, relating to your emotions, how you feel, how you relay your emotions to other people, how you receive emotions from other people, things to do with your heart space, your heart chakra, everything like that. And not just always the frou-frou stuff too, all of your emotions, the good, the bad, the ugly, right? And so this person, again, could be you, or at least it's you on a Tuesday, I don't know, is just like kind of ignoring or trying their best to move away from this disagreement to kind of get over it. And how to get over it is to do what they want to do, or to be aligned with what they want. Like, to be so focused on what will make me happy, what will give me satisfaction, what will bring me pleasure, what will make me smile, what will make me laugh, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. The list goes on and on. There's this heavy emphasis on, in order to get away from this, I have to do me, and I have to be pleased with what I choose to do going forward. All this crap here was terrible. This guy over here, Seven of Pentacles, he's not really getting what I'm trying to say. So let me focus on it myself. Thank you. I have to focus on it for me. I have to do it myself. Nobody else here or here or here, and even here and here, is able to satisfy the Queen of Cups the way the Queen of Cups wants to be satisfied, the way that she wants to be made happy, the way that she wants to find joy in her life, the way that she wants to feel as if she's connected and somehow a lovely person is what I'm getting. Like, to be happy with the self cannot involve anybody else. That's why there's this focus on that chalice, on that cup in her hand, is I gotta find it for myself. Do I already possess it? Is it already in my hand with that chalice that I'm holding on my throne? Or will I have to get up and go out and do something differently? So both of these cards, like I said before, are orientated away from the kind of not so great energies on the right side of your board. And they both are evaluating just differently. Like, to me, the Queen of Cups would be evaluating clearly from an emotional state. Like I said, what's going to make me happy? What's going to make me smile? What's going to give me fulfillment? What's going to bring me joy, right? This one over here is like, Pentacles are about practical steps or practical means of things. So it's kind of about, like I said, possibly in some ways reading too much into a situation or not enough. Like, Pentacles are not associated with euphemisms, not associated with things that need deep interpretation. Like, Pentacles and Swords are the two elements, again, Pentacles relating to earth and Swords relating to air. Those two elements are usually pretty practical. They're pretty much by the book. Call it like you see it. Call a spade. No gray area a lot of times when you deal with those two elements or those two different suits. So this Pentacles person is kind of perhaps so focused on what they desire, what they need to do for themselves, or what they want to do to alleviate whatever tensions in the situation. They might be thinking in very literal terms, and therefore they're not getting the nuance or the hint, the clever hints, the euphemisms that are being set forth by someone else. There's like a further disconnect here between these two people. Despite them both kind of looking away from the drama, away from the stress, away from the volatile changes that are going on around them or that are going on between them in some cases, they're just going away from it or focused away from it in totally different ways. You can be on, like I said, either side or both sides of that, Libra. Take your pick. Take your pick. Now, what's interesting is, like, if they're both orientated away, they would then be coming into these two energies here. So we talked about Seven of Pentacles first. Let's go ahead and get to this guy. Ten of Wands, straight across the line there. So Ten of Wands, card of burden, card of stress, card of overworking and not working hard and not working smart. So there's this idea, I feel, that for some of you that's true. If this is a work situation and you're taking certain directions from your boss or supervisor a certain way, and you're not really reading between the lines, you're not really getting the hint that of what they really want you to do, you're deciding to do it in a way that isn't super effective, okay? Like I've said, this card has come out a few times this month so far. I've said it, though, each time. This guy's not a smart cookie, okay? Why would you carry 10 wands that way to your destination? Why wouldn't you carry them across your body lengthwise and hold your arms out like this, you know, and kind of cradle them to where you want to go, or sling them over your shoulder, or go to town. There's a town in the background there. Maybe that's where he's going, but why wouldn't you go and get some rope and tie these things up, or get a mule or a donkey or a horse or a car, I don't care, and carry them that way? There's like this impractical funny. There's like this impractical decision being upheld. There's a decision to do it a certain way that's being maintained, and it's like, no, you Libra, or the other person or whoever, needs to be a little smarter about it, a little more savvy, okay? Don't think that just because you've done it this one way, it can't be done another way. You know, there has to be, and interestingly, there has to be a reevaluation. And the interesting part is, his orientation, the Ten of Wands, is going back towards the Seven of Pentacles. So there's this idea of doubling back, going back to that evaluation period and thinking things over again. Back to the drawing board, my friend, is kind of what that would indicate to me. So you can do whatever you want. Life is life, and choices are yours to behold. Behold, have, whatever. But I think there's this idea that this is not all said and done. This might still be an issue as well. And not to say that that should influence your choices, but there is this idea of, if these elements persist, the Five of Wands and the Tower in reverse, if those two cards and the energies behind them persist in your life, Libra, after you've made your decision to go and carry your 10 wands, however you want to carry them, if they still persist, why are you still carrying those wands that way? Perhaps you should carry your wands a different way. Perhaps you should handle the situation differently. Perhaps you should speak differently. Wands are associated with fire signs, and that's a dynamic energy. It's often associated with action. So you might have to change a behavior, change the way you approach a situation, change the way that you deal with this stress, this argument, this conflict, this competition. Okay, so if you are doing the smack talk in the office and people are starting to give you nasty looks, and you're like, why is everybody looking at me that way? Maybe you should stop smack talking. Like, everybody knows Libra's at the top of the leaderboard for sales this month. Has been up there for the past 5 months. We get it, Libra. Shut up. Is kind of like what you might be encountering. And that might not be so aggressive or as obvious to you. But you could, if you were paying attention to the details, to the euphemisms, and reading between the lines, you would be able to read that, oh, I should continue to do what I'm doing to make my goals, but I don't have to be gloating about it. I'm giving, like, people a bad taste in their mouth every time I walk into the office. It's like, guess who's in there? Oh, it's Libra, the best salesperson on the floor. Yeah, you know, like, that's a lot for people to take on. And so you can still do that if you want, but would it be wise? Might be easier if you kind of calm down and accomplish your goals in a quieter way, okay? Just a suggestion. You don't have to do anything I just told you to do. You do you, friend. But that's kind of what I'm feeling if you're down here. If you're up here, let's see. So the Queen of Cups is facing away from the argument, facing away from the conflict, focusing on herself, focusing on her own happiness, her own joy, and she's facing towards the Five of Cups. Now recall what I said about the fives. The fives are challenging, the fives are quite tedious, but they're also short-lived, they're also relatively easily surmounted. That's grammatically correct, even though it's not easy to say. But anyway, it can be overcome. In the Five of Cups, when we see it in tarot, we're thinking about disappointment. We're thinking about not rejection, but sort of like this loss. Could have come in the form of rejection, could have come in the form, like I said earlier, about just like circumstances, being robbed, experiencing a house fire, bad investments, losing a relationship, whatever it is. And there's this continued focus with the Five of Cups on what is lost. As you can see in the foreground there, or at the bottom of the card rather, in front of the figure, the 3 cups are spilled, but behind the figure, there are 2 cups that remain. So there's that silver linings thing that I mentioned earlier somewhere in here, where someone in the situation is like, well, it's not all bad. You still have this, or we still have that, or I still have this. And someone who's not the Queen of Cups is able to see those 2 cups and be like, well, no big deal. But the Queen of Cups, whoever it is, could be you, could be someone else. Again, I'm not feeling your energy like heavily anchored into anything. And your starting position was shared amongst other people anyway. So whoever this person is, they can't see the brighter side of things just yet. They have to continue, or not that they have to, nobody has to do anything, but they will continue to kind of let it affect them, let it rain on their parade. The clouds, or the sky is still cloudy, there's overcast, there's fog, and to someone else in this situation, the fog has lifted, the sun has come out. Why are you over there crying, Mary? Stop it. So there's this idea for the Queen of Cups that this misery, in a way, this fixation on loss, this fixation on being disappointed, being upset, heartbroken, sad, depressed, whatever, will continue. That is kind of very similar to what we said here. Why are you doing that? You don't have to do that. Or they don't have to do that. Everything, the fives, again, they're challenging, but you can overcome them. This 10, I didn't mention it, but let's go back here really quickly. The 10 is a culmination point. It's at the hardest that it's going to be. If you choose to continue that way, you'll continue to experience the hardship. But if you reroute yourself, whoever's the 7 of Pentacles, if you reroute yourself, the 10 will dissipate and you will get over the difficulty of the 10, okay? Same here with the 5, only this is more linear. Like here, there's a rerouting going on. Like I said, the 2 characters are facing each other here. So there's this idea of coming back to the evaluation point. The Queen of Cups is facing the 5 of Cups, which is facing off of the board. So there's this linear movement. There's this idea of continued suffering, continued sorrow, continued disappointment, continued sadness. When, again, it doesn't have to be. The 5s are easily overcome. As easy, and again, easy is relative. What's easy to me is not necessarily easy to you, and vice versa. But it can be done. The 2 cups, the saving grace, the silver lining, the consolation prize, whatever, is right there. If you turn around, do a 180, or even if you happen to stumble backwards, you'll bump into these 2 cups. So there's this idea that something very close to whoever this person is, whoever the Queen of Cups is, there's something very close to this person that is sort of a salvation point, or a source of turning things around, feeling uplifted, feeling connected, feeling hopeful is basically what I'm getting there. It's available, but if you don't lift your head and turn around, you're never going to see it. So there's this idea of persisting, which is unfortunate because on either side of the queen, the fives, she could kill a five in her sleep. The Queen of Cups. She could dispatch with a five like that. But, like I said, the Queen of Cups right now, in your reading, Libra, is like so focused on herself and her happiness that she might be getting into a delusional space. She might be getting into a space where basically she's not doing herself any favors because she's so much in her head, or she's so much in her own sort of dialogue. She's not really expressing herself to other people. A lot of her love and affection and nurturing is turned inward, and on paper that sounds good, but when you do that to excess, you end up shutting out other people, and you end up missing opportunities because your head is bowed. You're not able to look around and scan the horizon and see, oh, my friends are here, my husband is here, he's supporting me, my wife is here, she's supporting, whoever. You're not able to take in the full scope of what's going on around you, and all of your good intentions are turned inward, and that's fine to a point, but you have to periodically check in with those around you. Check in with the world around you, okay? So, what's your outcome for November? Queen of Wands. So you got two queens here, so there might be a change of the guard, so to speak. If you're the Queen of Cups, Libra, you might, by the end of November, become the Queen of Wands, which is totally different, a totally, like I just said, I just said that, right? Turn a 180 and you'll see those two cups behind you. If you literally turn around, you'll see something different. That could be what's going on. You need a change of perspective, or someone needs a change of perspective, and they might move from this dreary, woe is me, the life sucks, or they might change from this, I'm doing the best I can, I'm evaluating, I'm making decisions, but it's still not getting any easier for me. Someone somewhere can make a 180 and turn into this Queen of Wands energy. Now, the Queen of Wands is not, she's not the nicest queen, but she's not the worst queen either. She is a determined queen. And I'm saying she, it could be a male, you could be a guy. All of this could have been men. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Gender is irrelevant. I'm really just talking about the card. So the Queen of Wands is somebody who is determined, very strong-willed, very focused on their goals, very focused on their skill set and how to apply their skill set for their benefit, for their gain, for their advancement. She's very savvy in that way. And what was I saying? She's not the worst queen. What do I mean by that? She's not the worst as in she doesn't lack compassion. If you want to be totally, if you want to be virtually free of compassion, you need the Queen of Swords on your side. So the Queen of Wands will retain a little bit of the Queen of Cups energy and a little bit of that Seven of Pentacles energy. She has the ability to be focused on things that are practical, things that are gainful, things that she needs to survive, but she's also not going to forget her humanity in a way with the Queen of Cups at play in your main spread. So to me, the Queen of Wands often is like the amalgamation point of the other elements or the other queens, so I think this is either someone external to you, Libra. This could be a friend, a counselor, a partner of any sort, romantic or otherwise, or this would just be the energy that you're taking on yourself. I feel for many of you, not most, but many of you, this will be an external person who is what I've just described, dynamic about their business, very strong-willed, very determined to succeed, and not succeed in necessarily materialistic ways. It's not that she wants a huge bank account all the time. The Queen of Wands could be like, I want a stable, steady bank account. I want to have solid investments with a strong return. I'm not trying to be out here and be a millionaire. I'm just trying to be comfortable. Like, the Queen of Wands wants to be comfortable. She wants to have enough money where she could go on vacation. She could buy little things that she wants when she wants them, but she's not trying to live some lavish life, that's beyond her means. You know what I mean? Like, she definitely wants all that she can have, but in moderation. She's not overly indulgent, okay? So if that's you, like I said, you're in here somewhere in your main spread. If this becomes you, or this is how you end up, total 180. Total 180. I don't care if you're down here on the bottom. I don't care if you're up on the top. Total 180, because the Queen of Wands, like I said, will take her circumstances and find the way to make them work for her advantage, to make it work for her advancement, to give her the goal that she wants, okay? There are times where she is a tough cookie, and there are times where she's a soft kitten. You know, there's that dynamic within one person. So, like I said to you, Libra, I feel your energy is kind of spread out, or at least in two different camps at once. And the Queen of Wands, to me, would kind of emphasize that you're going to continue to feel that way. You're going to continue to feel like you're not firmly placed on one side or the other. But I think you're going to become a little bit more clear-sighted and a little bit clearer to others in the fact that, all right, this isn't working for me in this way. I'm going to take this and turn it into that. And that might seem a little shysty to people, like I said, a 180. But actually, I think that's kind of what you need, is to kind of reevaluate, not dwell on what you've lost, and kind of pull yourself up by your bootstraps and find a different solution. She's very industrious that way. Not as industrious as the King of Wands, of course, but she's pretty damn industrious, the Queen of Wands, and she can help you do that, okay? She can help you find a solution that you haven't thought of before, that you haven't considered before, that you might not have been open to before. The Queen of Wands is a guarded queen, but she can be talked around. She will negotiate. She will see the argument from whoever or whatever she hasn't considered before, and she'll be like, oh, now I see how that could help me. Okay, I'm with you, okay? Overall energy for November, you've got the Nine of Cups. So this whole reading, and again, I've not really hammered down on this is about relationships or work or family. I feel it, like I said, you could be in all three of those spaces at once, and these cards would apply to all three of those spaces and more at once. But being that you have the Nine of Cups in your overall, it's very easy to see that you have a wish, you have a desire, you have a strong attachment to having a positive outcome, Libra. I don't think you've had... Everything that I see here is workable. Even the Tower, which a lot of people are afraid of, which a lot of people are like, oh no, the Tower. I'm like, but towers can help. Towers are often in points of enlightenment or points of clarity for a lot of people. And so everything you have here is dealing with this, is dealing with what does Libra want, what is going to make me happy, what are my wishes, desires, how can I bring a smile to my face and the smiles of others around me? And it's about being bountiful and abundant in that feeling. I think a lot of you are looking for ultimate happiness. And again, I'm not anchoring this in one realm or area of your life, because I feel it's probably overall what's going to make Libra happy in their home, in their work, in themselves, in their relationships, with their children, with their partners, however you want to think about it. You've got 9 different cups that this guy is guarding, and each cup might be assigned to a different aspect of your life, or a different facet of the situation, or a different relationship in your life. You might have 9 significant people in your life, your spouse, your children, your cousins, whoever. You might have... Thank you. You might have like so many irons in the fire. Not that it's a bad thing, but like that's kind of where this 9 is coming from. And that's why I'm talking about how they might each be assigned to something important to you. So if you have a best friend, you want your relationship with your best friend to be amazing in the same way that you want your relationship with your husband or your wife to be amazing. You want the relationships that you have with your coworkers to be amazing. You just want everything to be great. everything to be happy and satisfactory, which is a tall freaking order. I am going to caution you, that's a tall order. But if this is here, I'm thinking that this is where you're looking out over the horizon of your life, or out over all areas of your life, and you're like, okay, that's what I want. How can I get it? And if you already have it, or you think you have it, you would be super protective of it, okay? That can go for you and against you, because the other aspect of the Nine of Cups, let me just give you a caveat here. The other thing about this guy that he's often attributed in some interpretations, and it might be so for some of you, is that he can be seen as a miser. He can be seen sort of as a Scrooge. As you can see, he's sat in front of these cups and he's cross-armed, and he's like, basically, touch one of my cups. I dare you. Just try and touch one. Go ahead. You'll lose an arm. And he's not like super like domineering, but there is this protective energy over it, which makes sense. If you're happy or you're satisfied with something, and it doesn't have to be 9 separate things, it can just be one thing. But if you have something that you treasure, that you value, you would protect it, right? And that would leave him in this sort of like defensive posture of cross-armed. He's not letting anything in, he's not letting anything out, he's just like solidly in place. So there's a caveat to this, what I had just previously said, the caveat being that be careful not to covet what you have so immensely, so tightly. There's a caveat in that, because if you might end up losing it, or it turns out to be just not what you thought it was, you might run into a huge downfall emotionally. Especially emotionally, since we're talking about cups. But it could also be financial. It could also be several things. So if you have something and you treasure it, great. Continue to treasure it. But don't become a miser with it. Don't become overprotective of it in some cases. Be confident and secure in your possession of it. Be secure in the integrity of it. Don't smother it. Okay? All right, Libra, that is your reading for November. Oh, I hope there was something here that you resonated with. If there was something here, go ahead and tell me about it in the description box, not the description, excuse me, the comment section below. If you don't want to put it there, you can just shoot me an email and I'll read it there and respond to you just the same. I always like to know how the readings help people and how they're applying to their lives. So if you want to share with me, cool. If you liked what you saw, there's a like button down there. Please go ahead and hit that. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe if you feel open to doing it. I know a lot of people hate subscriptions on YouTube, but if you want to, I would appreciate it. And of course, share the video if you found a message here for someone else that you think would be helpful and you're like, hey, check out this video. I would appreciate that as well. I'll be back in a few weeks' time when I do your December reading. Until then, guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye.